welcome back to the Share Your Screen podcast. My name is Nikki.
And I'm Coco.
And this is episode 8.
Woo!
If you're watching on YouTube, you've probably noticed that our filming location is different. I moved. So this is gonna be our new setup, I guess. We'll make it prettier as time goes on. But I literally moved in 3 days ago.
I feel like we're gonna hit the ground running because we have so many ideas now because we haven't in the next few weeks. Which
I feel like this episode is going to be a good episode this week.
I know.
The things we wanted to talk about this week, the first was the Streamy's wasted potential.
I know, it could be so good.
It could be so good. And I just feel like a award show about the internet should be so much better.
I know.
I think when you compare it to Oscars or Grammys or Tonys or hell, even the VMAs.
Yeah.
It's just so not good. It's just...
And it's been going on for I think this was almost its 10th year.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just interesting to me too because in theory, the internet is such a more broad category. It should be filled with much richer content than something that has to be just music.
Yeah.
Or just movies of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's weird that when the internet has more options at its disposal, I feel like it's
not evolving.
Yeah, it's not evolving.
And I love Mr. Beast, but the internet is more than just Mr. Beast.
Literally, we'll talk. I have many thoughts about this.
We'll get into that.
I have many thoughts about this.
Another topic that we want to go into is going to be Taylor Swift's big announcement and what it could mean for the music industry, for movies. I have thoughts.
Me too. So Taylor Swift announced that she's doing a there's going to be an Eras Tour movie.
Yeah.
Which is we've seen before, right? I remember the Justin Bieber. For some reason, the Justin
Never
Bieber
Say Never
movie,
was so good.
That movie needs to be in a museum.
I know. His purple hoodie, in a case next to the entrance.
That purple hoodie needs to be auctioned off.
And he had silver.
Do you think Hailey Bieber wears that?
I feel like it's probably in some weird plaque in Scooter Braun's office that no one can access.
In a dungeon.
Yeah. He knows it's worth
somewhere.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the silver skinny jeans. It was so good. He just had it down back then. But yes, also Katy Perry's movie documentary about I just think these are so fascinating to see what goes into these shows.
Me too. I love it. I love when they're talking about the lighting.
I know.
When they're talking about, okay, so we had to buy these lights and we have to transport them in an 18-wheeler. I think shit like that is so interesting. But I really think that this is also going to be specifically a bigger symptom of what's going on in the entertainment industry because with the strike going on, there's going to be a significant drop in new content that comes out next year.
I know.
Because everything for the next 6 months and everything that has been released in the past 3 months the strike's been going on was already completed.
We aren't feeling it yet.
Work. Exactly. We haven't felt the impacts of the strike. So I think when that happens, they're going to need tons of new content. And my prediction is I think that Netflix is going to try to essentially compete with Vivo. How Vivo is to YouTube, where they literally monopolize music videos on YouTube. Where I think a Netflix or a Hulu is going to one of them is going to try and monopolize
the documentary,
the concert documentary, or the music live performance sector. I think is interesting, and also I don't know. I'm kind of excited for more of this.
Me too. I'm thirsty for more content too, but I'm obviously in support of people getting paid a fair wage. So it's
yes,
I'm willing to wait it out, and I think that these caveats are going to be ways that I think Taylor probably also sees there's this window too of opportunity where, and I think people look to her for direction in the industry. So she knows if she does this, we're going to get a lot of concert documentaries in the next few years.
Yep.
And then can you just tell them about the new format you want to do too?
Oh, yes. I also have one small topic that I want to talk about, which is that we've been done new.
Yeah.
Instagram is having an identity crisis. Mm-hmm. And there was one specific moment, I'll talk about when we get to the section, that happened to me in my real life yesterday, where I just texted Coco. I was like, I need to talk about this on the podcast tomorrow. I think Instagram has just lost the plot in all capital letters. I seriously think at the rate it's going, in 5 years, I'm not sure there will be an Instagram anymore.
I know.
If they don't fix some of the problems that I think.
Yeah.
So that's something, I'm going to go on a tangent. You're going to get a good Nikki tangent.
I'm excited.
And then new segment we're trying out is marketing bops and flops. So this is just like every week if we see something that was like just great marketing and we want to talk about, bringing it up. There are a few. I have a bop and a flop. Like one that I thought was really good and one that I thought that was kind of bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, me too. I will dive into it, but I have like a Gwyneth Paltrow ad and then a Roblox Blackpink collab.
Okay.
One of them's a bop, one of them's a flop.
Okay.
And then at the very end, I have like a bad idea only that came to me about Beyonce and the Super Bowl, and specifically Doritos. It sounds random, but like I was watching one of her concert videos and I was like, okay.
I'm excited to hear. Doritos are my favorite chip.
Really?
So, like, I'm sold.
I like the Blue Ranch,
Me too.
Okay,
I like them all.
Cool. The Streamies.
The Streamies wasted potential.
I know, and we're saying this from love. Like, we would love to go to the Streamies one day.
Out of like a genuine desire for, I want the Streamies to reach the level of the VMAs. Like, I'm not saying it will ever be an Oscars. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying it needs to be or should be that. I just think the internet is like one of the most beautiful tools ever invented for like the spread of information.
Exactly.
And the way it has given people financial freedom or career opportunities that would have never existed. And it makes me so sad to see not that side of the internet highlighted.
On your point is just like, and I think Streamies are doing themselves a disservice.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I can throw a birthday party and like I can invite Zendaya and bank on Zendaya being there. But if she doesn't show up, I can't be mad. And it's like, I should have gave that invite to like a good friend who loves me and who's going to show up because they know me.
Right. And if you tell people that Zendaya's invited and she doesn't show up, they're going to be disappointed.
Exactly. You hype it up like that.
Right.
For example, Mr. Beast has been nominated and won Creator of the Year 4 years in a row now, and he hasn't shown up to like any, which is fine. That's why I love Mr. Beast. But even, I believe it was Rhett from the Mythical Morning podcast, he's the one who did the announcement, and he's like, and the winner is Mr. Beast, who literally didn't show up again.
He said that?
Yeah, and then he just walked off stage.
Crazy. I didn't know all that.
Which I don't think he was mad at Mr. Beast. I think he's like,
he's mad at the Streamies.
Like, the internet's bigger than Mr. Beast.
Right, and this is the exact point I was trying to get to, because like, I think they made the Streamies about quantity instead of originality.
Yes.
Like, it's the entire point of the Streamies is to promote like who is getting quantity, who is getting views.
Number,
This person
fans
has
voting.
a lot of views at this thing, so we give them an award. Not like who is pioneering the internet or evolving the platform in a new way that will cause this like ripple effect that has yet to be discovered.
Yes.
Like, it frustrates me so much. And again, it's like you're saying, like Mr. Beast is like, we all know.
We knew.
He's the biggest creator there is.
We
like,
love him for
he
it.
has broken like every record, right? Like, people love him for that. But like, his genre of the internet is defined now, right?
Yeah.
There are like, and if Mr. Beast doesn't win, there's 50 other Mr. Beast clones, like the Air Max and whatever, that are like $1 versus $500,000 hotel room, which is like great. It's content. People love it. I understand why people love it. I'm not hating on people for loving it. What I wish is like, okay, if we know this works, why aren't we using this like award show opportunity to promote a different creator who isn't getting 100 million views by doing the same thing over and over and over, but is instead getting 1 million views by doing something that nobody else has even thought of yet. Like, that's what I think that they should be gearing it towards more too. Social media has been around for over a decade now, and it seems like almost every month there is like a new niche on the internet that has like never existed before. And I'm so like, I wish that there was literally like an originality award.
I know,
like,
a
or
pioneer
like,
award.
Yeah, like or like a new genre award. And that was just to reward people like the Colin and Samirs, who like blew up by like, you know, being the first YouTuber to do a YouTuber interview show. People like, remember that Axel Weber kid who was like blowing up by like making videos about, like, I thought that was such an fascinating internet phenomena for like so many people to be geared around towards like Juilliard accepting in one student. And like, obviously people have made videos about college before, but it was like, I was like, whoa, this is the first time someone has ever deeply documented like the college audition process this deeply. Like, not even an application process, but like, I'm auditioning for a musical college. Like, stuff like that. I don't know. I just find it so...
Even his apartment, his small apartment, I think what was so fascinating to the internet was it was coming off the heels of this decade of the 2010s of kind of like what I call this Kardashianification of the internet, where it was like you had to be the Jake Paul and the David Dobrik's with the Lamborghinis. You had to show your big house. You had to do these big house tours. You had to you had to show your wealth. And that was what went viral. And then like videos like Axel Weber kind of threw that on its head, where it's like, I'm going viral because of how opposite. Like, I don't even have a microwave kind of thing. And I think that is so interesting. And it's so opposite of Mr. Beast, where it's like, how much money can I give? How many things can you buy at Walmart? And like, I think it's like, you make such a good point with the Axel Weber.
Yeah, and also like with Mr. Beast, again, like I think what he's done is fascinating. Like the fact that he's turned like a YouTube channel essentially into an entire media company is something that like no one's ever really done before. Right. Like the fact that he has warehouses and employees and staffs. He has a product that's in Walmart, right? Is so cool that a creator's done that. But to me, I'm like, okay, if we're going to compare people based off of like the amount of money and resources that they have, then like you cannot tell me that like Mr. Beast is equivalent to like a Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Who won, and like I'm so glad she won. She was the only person who I was like excited to like win a Streamy this year. But I'm like, these two people are not the same. Like they're not doing the same thing. I think the internet has gotten so broad. I'm like, dude, Mr. Beast has like as many employees as like your favorite movie production company. Or your favorite, like that gets staffed to your favorite TV show. You know what I mean? There's multiple cameramen, there's audio, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's put these people into either like a different category or different thing. Or I just wish that they segmented it differently. This is another thing. Like, why is there not like podcast of the year? Why is there not
there was, but they did it during an ad break. Yeah, they literally did it during, mind you, I think podcasting on YouTube is one of the biggest genres. It brings in the biggest watch time. It probably brings in the biggest ad revenue. They literally had Jay Shetty there, who's like, I remember meeting him in France and I was like, oh my God, like starstruck. Like and what I love about him is like, he's not even like the most followed podcaster, but he'll randomly get like freaking Mark Cuban on a random Tuesday. I'm
Tom Holland.
Because he's making quality videos, not quantity. And they had him come up and get his award during a commercial break when all the creators got up and left to go in the hallway and go to the break.
That's insane.
And we know that because Ethan from H3 was the one. And I don't agree with some of his coverage and the way he was talking about the Streamies, but he made good points where he's like, they literally, like, they didn't even know that they had announced the podcast thing because it was like, it was just like a random montage, like on the screen during a commercial break. And then Jay Shetty just walked up and got the word and left.
That's so crazy to me.
One of the biggest, I would say potentially probably one of the biggest ad revenue for YouTube.
Yeah, or and again, it's like, it's like them not investing into the new area, right?
Exactly.
They're like, Mr. Beast gets 100 million views, so we're going to have flashy award ceremony for Mr. Beast, when it's like, everybody already knows who he is. Yeah. And he's not showing up. Like, you need to get the flashy award ceremony to like a Jay Shetty, right?
Exactly.
Like, someone who is able to like pave a new way. Yeah. Because once that road has been paved, other people will follow. Like, you want to promote the person who's inspiring more people to create, because that will get more people on your platform. Yeah. Which just is like not how they think about it or design it. Or I even wish they went more niche than that. Like, imagine if they had like video essay of the year. Yes. Documentary
like D'Angelo
of the
Wallace's.
Year.
Like,
like I just wish
interviews
stuff like that, format of the year. Yeah. Like anything. Like, it would just be so interesting to me. And it's such a wasted opportunity, because I feel like once they did that, they could put it all into like a landing page, or like YouTube could even build it onto their homepage. Yeah. Where it's like the Streamy award winners, or it's like just the Streamy page. Imagine it's on the YouTube homepage, and you can click, and it's like, here are all the podcasts that were nominated. Here are all the music videos that were nominated.
It on the homepage.
Right? Like but because they don't structure it this way, it's not.
Or when you
like,
click
it just
on like
doesn't.
When you click on a YouTuber's like video that you love, like if you're watching a Jay Shetty podcast interview, they should have a badge at the bottom of every single one of his videos in the month leading up, being like, this creator is nominated for a Streamy. Yeah. Like they should be able to run a banner on like the bottom of the YouTube videos or something.
Exactly.
But also, might I add too, when I was looking up like the winners and stuff on my end, very white.
Oh.
Very white.
I was gonna get back to that.
What you were saying is like the internet champions people who might not have had access to a college education, might not have had, access to the best corporate job in a big city to like learn the ranks of film and video. And a lot of times that's marginalized groups. And the internet represents that in a lot of ways. And it's still, algorithms are still like have that institutional racism, and they're like, we're still fighting against that. But having Dylan Mulvaney, who's marginalized, but like Dylan Mulvaney, Michaela Nogueira, Chris Olsen, and Mr. Beast is the 4 faces of your event. What do all of them have in common?
Right.
They're all white.
You're right.
And that's not what the internet is. The internet is so diverse.
Yeah, and also it's like from my knowledge, the only POC I personally even knew on a Streamy was Jay Shetty.
Exactly.
Like during the
and he was during
break.
an ad break!
I know.
Yeah. And it's so, it was so white. And like, I just think that the Streamies, what it felt like to me, it was a really great representation. And I think this is like the Mr. Beastification of marketing and strategy. It was a really great representation of what corporate men in suits or in boardrooms think the internet is. Not what it actually is.
Such a great analysis. And I think that goes back to going over quantity over originality, right?
Yeah.
Because like to them, they're like, well, person who can create 100 million impressions is greater than person who can create 5 million impressions. Like, that's what a man in a suit sees.
Yeah, and Mr. Beast, I'm sure, is bringing in a lot of money for YouTube, but I'm sure what's bringing in even more money is, like, the people who see creators like Jay Shetty or, like, you know, these other creators that are like, I'm going to make the creators that have 100,000 to, like, 500,000 range of subs, I'm sure are bringing in so much money because they're all uploading in the hopes, but like when they see someone like Mr. Beast who keeps winning, they're like, I can never compete with that.
That's when it just becomes this, let's look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And like, that's not interesting. Because also, if we're just doing it based on numbers, bitch, I see.
Yeah, I
see how many,
Let me look it up.
Yeah, like we can look up how many subs they have.
And then I also just want to add too, which kind of goes under the Mr. Beast thing, but like, there were so many, like, in my idea, like A-list celebrities who were nominated for like creator awards, and I was like, one, I don't know, like
I hate
they might have to like self-nominate, I'm not sure, but I almost think that if that's not the case, I don't know, the Streamies is nominating them to try to like bring their prestige up.
Viewership. I literally think it's to bring viewership up.
Yeah, like they nominated Shay Mitchell for her Bae's Travel for Creator Brand of the Year, which to me, I'm like, I almost think that's like, I'm a creator and I'd love to be nominated for that one year, but I almost think it's an insult to Shay because she was an actress on one of the biggest television shows of the 2010s. She's in Pretty Little Liars. I'm sure she's not like, she obviously uses TikTok and she has a YouTube channel for branding, but that's more of a tool to her than her identity. And it takes away from a creator brand who it is their identity, and that is their only way to like sell. And another one was Sophia Richie was nominated for Lifestyle Creator of the Year. And I'm like, she really only started being super active on TikTok like 3 months ago. She would have been popular, her wedding would have been popular whether she was posting on TikTok or not. Like it was just so, I think that it's such an insult to like, also a lot of creators of color who are working their fucking asses off to try and be in these categories or get any sort of recognition, because getting recognition from something like the Streamies opens up brand deals for these people. It's their livelihood.
Right.
And instead, they're taking that opportunity and they're giving it to an A-list celebrity who's going to be fine whether they have a TikTok channel or not.
Yeah.
And it's an insult.
No, exactly that. And it's an insult to people, too, who, like, don't get to start from that playing field.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's always going to be a certain quantity of people that recognize her from Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
That are, like, willing to buy a suitcase.
Yeah.
But, like, so-and-so who started when they were 18, like, making rings in their bedroom and has now turned that into a $2 million business is, like, way more interesting of a narrative for me, too.
Yeah.
And again, that's the type of thing, I think if they were smart, like, they would want to promote that because they would want to incentivize aspiring entrepreneurs to be like, hey guys, like, if you make a bunch of TikToks or you make a bunch of YouTube shorts or you make a bunch of videos, anything about your product on the internet, like, you can be a really successful entrepreneur. So, like, you should start making content about your business. You know what I mean? Like, and that would incentivize more people to make stuff. But
what felt odd was, like, Streamies felt like a sellout, but then, like, you know how, like, Doja Cat said, like, oh, my song was, like, a cash grab, but people are like, yeah, but it still had to be good to be a cash grab, which makes sense. It was, like, Streamies was a sellout, but then, like,
it wasn't good.
But the people that they sold out for didn't even show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, like, they could do so good, and maybe we'll come full circle, and, like, maybe, like, one day we'll be there, or like we can, even if we help them like brand or something, like I would love to try and figure out how to rebrand. I think that would be like the project of a lifetime. But
seriously,
it was just like, and then one last note too I want to add, which I just felt a little weird about, is and I love her as a creator. I think that she's gonna be so successful no matter what, and I think she's here to stay. And it's actually my first ever podcast episode on my Ahead of the Curve podcast, but I talked about Michaela Nogueira, and I talked about how, like, the whole mascara gate, and was it a big deal in the grand scheme of things? No, but the message that they sent when she allegedly used false lashes for her ad with the mascara, I believe it was L'Oreal, is that big creators are going to get the biggest paychecks and they're going to stay at the top of the game because they're willing to cut corners, they're willing to lie.
Yeah.
And how can Joe Schmo over here with 20,000 followers who's trying to make it big, what message are you sending to them when you say, is a brand, L'Oreal, is Streamy's giving these creators the makeup artist, beauty creator of the year?
Right.
You're sending the message that we don't care when people lie. We don't care when people cheat.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are going to come out on top. And you little guys who play by the rules, you're never going to get the recognition that you're working for. I think it sent that message by giving her that award.
Absolutely.
There's so many creators out there, beauty creators, POC creators, like I can think of 10 that I could email them right now that should have been nominated and considered. And I love Michaela as a creator, but I think that instance right there just showed that the Streamies was like, we're not here for the little guys.
Yeah.
We don't actually represent the internet. And it just sent the biggest message, I think.
No, I couldn't agree more. Exactly.
If that's not how it was, I don't know. That's how it felt as a viewer.
Which is important.
And I feel like I'm being harsh, but I just really feel like me and you, a lot of our platform is championing the little guys who are like on the brink of making it. And I think the Streamies just sent the worst message to like 99% of creators.
I
just had to get that off my chest. We'd love to know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, or like, how could the Streamies be better?
Yeah, how could the Streamies be better? I guess moving on to Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Okay.
It was announced today that they are doing a concert video. Is it a documentary?
Like a documentary kind
or
of
is it just
thing.
like a video of the concert? Either way.
I think part of it is the mystery is that you have to go and watch.
There you go. No matter how you feel about Taylor Swift, like, you have to respect her ability to like not one moment goes to waste for that girl.
No.
Like, truly, like, not even just like, oh, I have the biggest tour of the year, but like, I'm gonna use that to release multiple albums while I'm on the tour still, then use that to launch a leg of the tour, now use that to launch like a video of concert performance of the tour. Like, it's really remarkable how she like uses every wave to ride into the next wave. I honestly just in general am shocked no streaming service ever went hard with like paying for concert videos.
Well, I know Apple TV did something with Billie, but it wasn't a concert. It was more like a documentary. I think Apple TV has been trying to like kind of carve out this lane, but I think that there's a specific reason that Taylor wants it in theaters. And I think AMC is the one who like is doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that like she wants, like, you can watch it from your home, but there's a feeling that you get when you're like watching it in a theater that does it justice, like as if you were in an arena.
Right, or in a concert where you're surrounded by other fans and stuff like that too. But I'm also sure that like at some point it will go on like DVD or streaming.
Yeah, for
or something.
sure.
But if there is not new content being made, they are gonna have to start to buy content.
Yeah,
like, that's how streaming services literally have to stay afloat.
Or theaters, because they're not gonna
theaters
have new movies.
is a great point too, and I think music is such a great avenue. One, it's like they don't have to like hope that it works. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't have to hope people want to watch Beyonce on the Renaissance tour. Like, you know people want to watch Taylor Swift. Two, you get to bring in their fandoms, right? Yes. So it's like all these pre-existing groups of people, like,
you're not convincing them to be interested.
Yeah, you don't have to convince them. And then three, it's like, what is the risk associated? Like, if you do things with like reality TV or like, you know, all these other ways that they try to get around using SAG, WGA and whatnot, then like there is always some sort of inherent risk of like if you create something that's never been done before, there's a chance that it fails. Yeah. Whereas if you just are like, well, let me just like buy what works.
Why like, fix what's not broken?
Exactly. And I think too, like, you saw how Vivo dominated YouTube. Like, if you look at just the most subscribed YouTube accounts, they are all Vivo. Yeah. Like, they're all the most viewed YouTube videos, all Vivo. Like, they literally just dominated of like, there is this platform that exists. Music videos are something people are already interested in and have been. Think MTV era. Let's just do this on this new platform. Yeah. And it turned into like a multi-million-dollar business, and now like every artist is, you know, doing Vivo and has a Vivo YouTube channel. And I think that streaming services, if they're smart, should try to compete with the same thing but go for a longer version. So either like concert documentaries or
even like the 10-minute All Too Well. But like I almost think we're gonna see serialized music videos.
Right, or even like YouTube pays for the rights to live stream Coachella.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, imagine if there was ever a tour where it was just like Netflix paid for the rights to live stream it or something. Like, people would watch it for that. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that and like how that progresses. I would love it if like the documentary scene got more normalized for music. Like, I love a music documentary.
Me too. There's something about like them backstage, or like, you know, the scenes where they're like on a little like platform and then it's about to shoot up in the air and then they like jump on stage.
It just gives so much hype. It brings so much hype. I feel like you really get to see a side of them too, like when they're really, really nervous about performing, or like the planning, or they talk. Yeah, it really humanizes them in this beautiful way. Or I even just like, I think learning about the music industry is so fascinating. I watched this documentary on YouTube about Coachella. I think it was for their 20th anniversary. It's free, you can watch it. It's like called like Coachella 20 Years in the Desert or something.
Wow.
And it was literally just about like the origin of the Coachella Music Festival. Like, who were the biggest headliners? Why were they so big? Blah, blah, blah. And I just thought it was so interesting.
I love that.
I would love it if they did that more with other things. Also, I posted about this on my Instagram story, and one of you guys like swiped up and were messaging me about it, and they said that apparently Beyonce did I think like a documentary style video with something with Netflix for Lemonade.
Oh,
like her Lemonade album. And again, I am not verifying this. This is what was told to me. Is that too, that like because of that she has like a pre-existing contract with Netflix to do other releases. So now there's tons of speculation that the Renaissance tour is now gonna get streamed on Netflix.
Oh.
And the Eras tour is gonna get streamed at AMC theaters.
Right.
So it's like, you know what I mean? And also, again, like all industries, like when one person does something, the dominoes fall. Everybody copies each other. So I think it will be really, really interesting to see like if there starts to be like a competition for them to like bidding wars
they're gonna start bidding.
Like concerts and stuff.
And all these platforms aren't bidding on or paying production or even people living wages, but now they have all this like money that they're like, okay, well, we have to put some content up. And
exactly.
I think it's really interesting because I had made a prediction. I actually posted it on Discord, and I was like, I think that we're gonna see the rise of longer music videos like Taylor Swift's All Too Well during the strike, because it's going to be a way for like A-list actors to get work without violating. I think it's why we saw Miley, Selena, Ariana all put out music last week. It's just a way for people to stay in the limelight who are not able to act and get cast for a little bit. But I actually got a really interesting message in the Discord where someone says, I actually work in the music industry, and there's actually been a huge pullback on music videos because they are not bringing in money.
I heard about
that
this.
Was so interesting, and so I think that's a great point. And one way that I see this working in the next year or so, if this is true, is we might see smaller or indie artists that aren't signed to a label and or artists who are self-funding projects putting out music videos that are like more vlog style, reminiscent of Lana Del Rey. One of the ways that she got famous in the 2010s, it's one of my favorite stories, is she put out her song Video Games, still relatively kind of unknown, but her and her sister filmed the music video for Video Games on a computer webcam, uploaded it, and it went so viral. That's where a lot of her like Giphies from Tumblr were like clipped. And I think the reason people were drawn to it is because, especially in the 2010s, which is when we really saw this overproduction of music videos, and they all looked the same, and they were all in the same green room, and they all had the same lighting, and they were all the same outfits and sounds and formulas. And I think that people were drawn to the complete contrast of that, which was, instead of all of these formulaic music videos and pop songs, you saw Lana Del Rey, who was filming herself and her sister on a webcam of a computer. And you can tell it's very low grain, low quality. And I think that if it's true that record labels are pulling back funding of music videos, we'll see the rise. Because again, don't think about it from what record labels want. I was like thinking about it. What does the user, what does the audience want?
Yeah.
People, even maybe subconsciously, are going to be itching for new shows, new movies, new content that they are not going to get in the next year because of the strike. And if a new music artist can provide that to them via YouTube, then they're going to blow up the way Lana Del Rey did. So anyways, I say that to say, I think we'll see like more of these grainy, these are more of like smaller artists, not the Taylor Swift. But like, I really do just in general think that music is going to be a way to placate entertainment while we're seeing the strike happen. And it's going to happen in different ways.
Right. That's what I think is interesting too, is I think we're going to start to see the blend of like these two forms of media. Like traditionally it's very like movies and TVs, music, or we're on like two separate islands. And I think they're going to slowly like approach each other more and more. The same way like music and social media has slowly approached each other. Like TikTok like created that bridge. Going back to what we were talking about music videos too, I remember actually Troye Sivan, everything that man does, I know about. If he walked into a 7-Eleven, I would know.
Yes.
And he, when the Rush music video came out, I remember he like made a TikTok talking about how his like, thank you guys for blowing up the music video so much. This secured funding for the next music video because labels have been telling me that like music videos don't perform anymore. Wow. But also, why do these record labels then keep complaining about like artists don't sell out the way they used to anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like I've seen so many articles from music execs complaining about how like difficult it is to get like a big new artist now. And I'm like, well, if you're not making like,
you're not giving them the resources.
Right. It just seems like a dog chasing its own tail. Yeah. You're like, why isn't my person who I gave zero money to or produced zero music videos for or gave zero promotion behind selling out an arena when 10 years ago you were like spending all this money to put them on the radio? Every single thing had a music video, everything, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I think it's just like a weird thing about the industry right now. It's like they want to complain. People in positions of power want to complain for things not doing as well as they used to, instead of like, how do we take the money and funding that we have to like make this make sense for a new audience? It'd
be like if we were like, we are only going to post a YouTube video once we hit 100K, about like 100,000 subs. Right. And then we're like crickets and we're like, well,
I guess nobody wanted it.
Nobody wanted it, but it's like in order to hit 100K subs, you have to like keep posting.
Exactly.
You know, like
exactly.
It's like why? Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's so interesting. Should we move on to marketing bop and flop?
Yeah, I have my Instagram.
Oh wait! Oh my god! I'm like, okay, let's dive. I want to talk about it.
But honestly, it's kind of a marketing flop. So
oh wait, exactly.
So like segues perfectly. Okay, this all stemmed from. Yesterday, I went to Mendocino Farms. If you're not from California, you don't know how good Mendocino Farms is.
Is that the one we went to that one day? And is it by Target?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I don't like it. Okay.
I know you don't.
Sorry, I don't like it.
Don't listen to her, girl. They got good ass salads. It's like a soup salad sandwich place. Anyways, there's a billboard for Instagram, like literally in the parking lot of where I went. And I don't know why it infuriated me so much, but it was a billboard for Instagram Reels. And the billboard was horizontal, like 9:16, like flat, like a YouTube video.
I already have thoughts because I just think that the people who are like looking at billboards aren't early adopters of technology.
Girl,
the people that like, it's just billboards feel outdated, and unless you can do something that's like viral enough that someone wants to take a photo of it and post it, that's the only time it's worth it.
Exactly. And so anyways, that just made me infuriated. I was like, how out of touch do you have to be? Like, how deep of a loss of identity does there have to be for you to be like, we're gonna literally copy and paste our biggest competitor on a feature that they came up with, then experience exponential backlash from our user base about that decision? Like, do you remember the whole like big Instagram again thing that was going on so much last year? And then like you can't even accurately display it in the advertising you pay money for. Like you paid money for that. Anyways, it just really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Or just like sent me down this rabbit hole. And I have a theory Instagram is having an identity crisis.
Okay.
Like I think them giving up on photos and deprioritizing photos will end up going down as one of the biggest mistakes in the history of the internet. Like 10 years from now, people will look back on it and be like, Instagram literally had a monopoly over taking pictures.
I know.
Do you realize how insane that is? Like, if you wanted to take a picture and show it to people, there were two places, Instagram and Pinterest. And like, the gap in users between Instagram and Pinterest, massive. So like, Instagram literally had a monopoly. And every industry in the world relies on photographs, right? Music, fashion, beauty, food, like all of these things have used pictures to show their products, to advertise their products, to display things, like to release albums, to release songs, like throughout time. Throughout time, photography has been a very, very powerful
It's universal because you don't have to speak the language of the photographer to like get the message that they send.
Exactly. It's a global phenomenon too. Also, it's like images are really able to be perceived by anybody. You know what I mean? Like a 5-year-old or a 75-year-old can look at a picture and see the same thing.
And I also think brands love it because there's less room for mistake in a still photo versus if they have like a social media intern making random videos every day. Like it's easier to approve, it's quicker to see. I think as someone who makes videos, I think it's harder to do photography. But like the results are a little more foolproof.
Exactly. And one of the points I was going to mention too is like I think Instagram lost the plot. Like the reason short form video became so popular was because it was lower lift than long form video. Right? Like our whole generation, we grew up wanting to be YouTubers. Like I watched YouTube in 2012, 2014, 2017. Like I was always growing up watching YouTube. So I grew up wanting to be a YouTuber. So but I didn't know how to use Adobe Premiere. I don't have a camera that's super nice. I didn't have time to upload that or to like make interesting content.
Yeah,
like
it's hard.
Making YouTube content adjacent to like a Mr. Beast is difficult. So the reason TikTok became so popular, I think, was it was like the low lift YouTube. It's like finally anyone can be famous for making videos in their bedroom, right? Which was not possible on the internet before. And I think had they stuck to their guns, photos would have seen a resurgence because the only thing lower lift than a 15-second TikTok is something where you don't even have to record at all. Right? Like brands and creators would have started, like people would have started to get this fatigue about short form video as we're experiencing now.
Right now.
And there would have been a deeper resurgence for like, I just want to take fun pictures with my friends. You know what I mean? And Instagram would have seen a lot more popularity from that. But instead, they made the mistake of copying TikTok, and that made people resent Instagram because they were like, I want these two things to be separate. And also I think too, like the one advantage Instagram has always had over every other social media platform is it is the only platform that is left with the concept of social networking as opposed to like social broadcasting, essentially. Like if you think about all social media was formed out of this desire to connect with people when you're unable to connect with them in real life. So like MySpace, you met your friends, it started with colleges. Facebook also started with colleges. You can write on your friend's wall. Then we saw Tumblr, then we saw Twitter, right? Like all of these things were designed with like, how can I see more? How can I communicate with people when I'm not physically with them? Then as the internet started to grow and as more money was put behind it, it became less about like, how am I connecting with people and how am I like broadcasting to people? It's more like, can I get people to tune into like my radio show? Like every Instagram account, every social media, every TikTok account, every YouTube account is like, it's broadcasting out. Like I'm doing this thing. I want you to watch me do this thing to receive some sort of monetary benefit, right? The one thing Instagram had, like TikTok became like that. YouTube became like that. All the other social media networking platforms died, right? The one thing Instagram had was it was the only place you really like followed your friends. Like if you meet a new friend at a bar, you don't say, what's your TikTok? That's weird. You say, what's your Instagram? Right? Like Instagram
it's a utility.
Had that. And I think by trying so hard to be TikTok, they lost that. They lost the like, we are the quality platform. We are the connection platform. And that was so dumb because nobody else was doing it. And like to this day, the most posted on pieces of social media on a daily basis aren't even TikTok, it's stories. Like,
oh my God.
Stories get the most posting. So I think what Instagram should have done instead of copying TikTok, like you've talked about this in one of your videos before of like Twitter always had this negativity problem, but Instagram has had this discoverability problem, right? Where like nothing, you post a video and you post a picture, and it goes out to, if you have 500 people following you, a maximum of 500 people can see it. Maybe you get 250 likes and you're like, cool, I'm happy with that, right? There is no way to find new people.
Yes.
The beauty of TikTok was it was completely designed around a For You page, right? It was completely discoverability. So I think if Instagram wanted to copy TikTok, what they should have copied was not short form video, was the idea of like a For You page or like a discovery page. Like, I think if instead of a Reels tab or like these terrible suggested Reels that appear.
Or the Explore page. I hate the Explore page because if I look up like Khloe Kardashian once on my Explore page, all the photos for the next like week are the same exact photo of Khloe on different fan accounts. I'm like,
literally. But I feel like if they had been smart and been like, okay, instead of copying TikToks with Reels, we're gonna copy this discoverability thing. So now, like, we're gonna instead of making it more like TikTok, we're gonna make it more like Pinterest, but with a For You page. So you click on your homepage, and instead of it only being people you follow, it's like 1 out of every 7 pictures, because we're sticking with pictures, is like a new picture of like a niche category that you pick, the same way you do on Pinterest, right? Like when you make a Pinterest account, you have to be like, I'm interested in home decor, I'm interested in fashion, I'm interested in blah. And like Pinterest has mastered this ability to curate things and like show you the things you want before you even know that you wanted them. Like, it's insane how good Pinterest is at that, which proves to me that it's very possible to do with photos, right? Because I think Pinterest is more focused on like, what are you interested in, not who are you interested in. And I think if Instagram found a way to combine that with like this beautiful connectivity thing that they've had, where like you still DM your friends on Instagram, you still talk to your friends on Instagram, you post stories of your day on Instagram, like Instagram would have been able to win, or at least have this differentiating factor from TikTok. And now it feels like they're eternally trying to play catch up in a game that they don't even fully understand, because they're not making their own rules anymore. They're like sprinting to catch up to the person in first place. They used to be the
cool kid. Now they're trying to keep up with the cool kids.
So that's just like my long-winded rant about Instagram and how I feel like they should have just...
Yeah, you make such good points. And it actually kind of like gave me this idea where, imagine if Instagram completely rebranded. And I think that what you said, the best feature of Instagram is Insta Stories.
Yeah.
So what it is you go on Instagram and think about the biggest account that has blown up in the last year or so, Dumois. Dumois barely ever posts a static Instagram. What Dumois does is post screenshots to stories and has millions of followers because people want to see their stories. So if Instagram rebranded, and what they did is they almost mimicked the For You page, but what happens is you hit your friend's Insta story and you're watching their Insta stories, which they kind of do, but like it could kind of...
They're sponsored only though.
And it shouldn't be that.
Right.
What they should do is they see Sally Joe, I love saying like Sally Joe, whatever, in Wisconsin. Just shout out to Sally Joe in Wisconsin.
Shout out to Sally Joe.
She's always our like guinea pig. Don't know who she is, but in our head she exists. Sally Joe in Wisconsin goes on Insta. What's the first thing you do when you go on Instagram? You probably look at Insta stories of the people that come up, right?
Right.
She's looking at her friends' Insta stories, and the Instagram algorithm can track, okay, she just looked at 3 of her friends' Instagram stories that was about them rollerblading. What are we going to do in the next story? We're going to suggest her, boom. It's going to come up, and it's not sponsored. It's just the algorithm suggesting a similar account of someone roller skating.
Right.
And then they look through those, and then the next Insta story, like... I think that IG should completely rebrand and capitalize on Insta stories. I think that's what makes it unique. And if you look at the only people that are really growing on Instagram, I'm not talking about a TikToker that you found and then went to Instagram and followed them. I'm talking about people who grew platforms on Instagram. They're doing it because they're using stories. And and they can also weed in threads. So every time, like if the Insta Stories platform starts acting as like a For You page and suggesting you other stories, they can also throw in a viral thread where a thread comes up and it's a celebrity just asking like a question and you can reply. And then and then you go to the next story and then you go to the next story. And I think that is how Insta rebrands and stops trying to chase what is already popular and caters to what makes them unique. And you can reply to stories in private DMs. Like, that's exactly why I like Instagram. People will DM me on TikTok and I'll literally be like, can you DM me on IG? Like, I don't really check this like that. So yeah, that's my idea.
Super interesting. I hope that like made sense and wasn't me just incoherently ranting for so long.
No, I love it.
But like I just ran it. I don't know. I just think that
it's the beauty of a podcast.
It is the beauty of a podcast.
And so that was a marketing flop.
That was a marketing flop.
A marketing bop, and then your other marketing flop.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear what yours are.
My marketing bop.
Okay.
Was e.l.f. Cosmetics did a campaign with Snookie.
So good.
Promoting sunscreen, which is so funny. e.l.f. Cosmetics has one of the best social media presences of any brand.
I agree.
And I think that, like, I don't understand why people don't talk about them
more.
The agency that does all their stuff is called Movers and Shakers. I follow them on LinkedIn, and they post really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're very, like, you can tell they're very smart people. And they did a campaign with Snookie where she was talking about, like, and I like when campaigns or ads, instead of trying to avoid a topic, target it directly. So instead of trying to avoid the fact that Snookie was on Jersey Shore in the early 2000s, gym tan laundry, like just disgusting levels of tans. The commercial is about that, as opposed to like avoiding it in its entirety. You know what I mean? Like it's like her taking the stance of like, I'm a reformed tanner, and like I'm telling you like that is terrible for you. You need to be putting sunscreen every day.
Because it's about their product, which I actually use. It's called like Whoa Glow or something, and it's SPF.
Yeah.
So it has like a little bit of a tint to it, but it's SPF. I wear it every day, and also the branding. It's like this bright, it's like my nails. It's like neon yellow bottle, which I think kind of is cheeky like that, like the Jersey Shore, like neon lights, like party, like not subtle.
Exactly, and I felt like it was really, really funny. Like using Snookie to essentially kind of diss herself is like a good, level of humor. Number two, it's very self-aware. Best advertising is always self-aware. It knows what it is. It knows it's an ad. It's owning that it's an ad. And it's like, oh, this is funny that like we hired someone who's like notorious for having terrible tans to do a campaign for SPF. And then three, it's like a if you know to the fandom. Yeah. Whenever you're doing celebrity advertising, you have to like place something in that's like only the fans will pick up on. Yeah. Because that one detail is going to be the thing they send to their friend. It's not going to be like, hey guys, Snookie likes sunscreen now. Like nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about the reference to the one Jersey Shore episode that they watched with their friend in 2011. Yes. And they're like, oh my God, do you remember blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So that's why I love this campaign. I felt like it hit just like every nail on the head. It was like this perfect level of like advertising, but self-aware, but funny, but knew how to tie into the product into like a relevant use case to both the talent and to like pop culture history as a whole.
I wonder too if like, I think of e.l.f., at least like their price point and stuff, I would assume that they skew younger. I don't know their numbers. Yes. And I think it's interesting that their last Super Bowl ad was with Jennifer Coolidge, and now they just are working with Snookie, who I'm on the cusp of Gen Z and millennials. And I would say that the Jersey Shore audience skews more millennial. And so I wonder if e.l.f. is trying to advertise like towards that more older demographic versus like just the young kids. Because
I do know that they are, I saw like a random statistic that I think they're like one of the top 3 most purchased makeup brands by Gen Z. Which is really interesting.
And it's interesting they're not catering to them in that way.
Well, I think they are, but like clever. Like I think most of Gen Z knows of Jersey Shore. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they're always doing like things Gen Z knows about, but picking older talent. Yeah. Like Jennifer Coolidge is a great example. Like everybody saw White Lotus, but also like Jennifer Coolidge is like American Pie. Or like, you know what I mean? Like that millennial audience and stuff too. So they're really, really intentional. I don't know. I just love their marketing. I love it.
Maybe because e.l.f. is such a lower price point, they want to use like this more like older or kind of like middle-aged millennial, not even like, you know what I'm saying. They want to use that older talent to like give the product more like authority. Whereas if they worked with like 12-year-old vloggers, it would seem like a Color Pop or like a Kitty brand. Morphe. They don't want to be a Morphe is what I'm saying.
Yes. And I think too, like they're actually really smart about like not using a lot of beauty people. Yeah. Even in celebrities. It's not like a Hailey Bieber or like a Kylie or a Kendall Charles. Or like it's like famous people, but people who aren't famous for beauty. Yes. And I think that is like a really, really good bridge for them to
give them authority.
Well, I was going to say the opposite. Oh. To be like, it can be makeup for people who aren't makeup artists.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like there's not like this pressure to look perfect. It's like, this is a usable product. Like SPF, you're going to wear it every day. It doesn't need to be like you don't need to be a hot girl every 10 minutes to wear SPF. Like, you just should be wearing SPF anyways.
You're a career woman who doesn't have, like, 3 hours to sit in front of a ring light, you know?
Exactly.
Okay, you're right. You're so right with that, I think.
I want to hear one of yours.
Okay. So my marketing flop that, like, unironically became a bop.
Okay.
Did you see Gwyneth Paltrow's ad for this, like, random probiotic company?
Dude,
crazy.
It's bizarre.
Bizarre. And
like, bizarre is, like,
I can't even
an understatement.
And for anyone watching who doesn't know, essentially Gwyneth Paltrow filmed an ad for this company Seed, and it was like this probiotic pill, and it's like the antithesis of what you would think like a good sponsored video would be, which almost is why it's so funny and viral. She, like, you can tell she just did one take and was like, that's all they're getting. It might have even been in the contract where they're like,
for sure
one take.
What 1000% what happened is it was in the contract that they had to pay per revision.
Refilm. Yeah.
Per refilm. And the brand was so mad that she cared so little that they chose not to pay her to run it. And
exactly.
Like, I literally think that there was, like, secret beef going on.
And I honestly think now brands are going to have a clause that someone can't be steaming milk while you film. Because, hear me out.
I hope.
The video was Gwyneth Paltrow. She sticks, like, a probiotic in her mouth. She doesn't even swallow it. And then she takes it out, and you can see, like, she has glasses on. And it almost looks like in, like, the reflection of her glasses, you can see, like, the email brief telling her what to say. And she's like, hey, guys, this probiotic is really great for bloating. And then, like, she's like, oh, sorry, blah, 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 steaming milk right now. And you just hear, like, in the background,
literally.
And, like, it takes, like, I worked at Starbucks. It takes, like, I say that every video. It's like a little hidden gem now. It's like a hidden Mickey, Colleen referencing her time at Starbucks. It takes maybe 10 seconds to steam milk. So, like, the fact that one, she couldn't say, hey, I'm about to film an ad. Can you just, like, wait 15 seconds to make your coffee? And, or just being like, okay, let me wait to film until they're done. They're literally getting out the steamer and, like, plugging it in.
Yeah.
And the video's, like, off-centered, it's grainy, and then the video just, like, abruptly cuts. Like, she's, like, it almost seemed mid-sentence, then it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it definitely just ended.
And it's so funny. It's going so viral because people are like, how is this real? And I almost think that it, like, unironically became, I'd never heard of the brand Seed until now.
Me neither.
I almost think it's making them more viral because, like, had Gwyneth Paltrow filmed beautiful hair and makeup in a studio, great lighting, I would have scrolled on that ad because I would have known it was a commercial. So I think it was like an accidental bop, but it was still just so crazy that she like filmed it like that.
Interesting to me because it's a bop in terms of viewership, but I don't know if it'll be a bop in terms of conversion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that this is really fucking funny.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do you think that people are going to go out and buy Seed? That's my question. Like, is it actually going to make people want to buy the brand? Or does it make people not want to buy the brand?
I mean, yes. I will say this, though. I think it's that trickle down of just exposure because I know of Seed today. Guess what brand I didn't know existed yesterday? Seed.
No,
so
totally.
They did win in some way, you know? But I think you're right. It might not be immediate conversion, but I think it's now in the zeitgeist in a really interesting way.
I think if they're smart, they need to make this like a brand. Like, every single ad they do is bad. Like, every single time it's a celebrity that looks like they just got on Instagram Live for 35 seconds. Like, taking a pill. Like, I think if they did that,
so good.
It would be really, really good. Especially in this, like, beauty supplement space. Because it's so, I mean, like, it's just so, like, think of like a Neutrogena commercial where she has like shiny hair.
Yes,
and she's like,
exactly. It's like
I feel beautiful with my, you know what I mean?
You're usually taking a vitamin, like when you just woke up, you're literally taking a vitamin because you're down and out and you like need the nutrients.
Literally.
So yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I just would pay for two things. One, to know how much money that ad cost. My estimate is it was around like maybe $200,000 is what I could be wrong. I could be, I think I might be underballing it. And two, I would love to know, like, I want to be a fly on the wall when the social media intern, like, saw the email come through, and it's, like, Gwyneth Paltrow video, and they're like, oh, my God, you guys, like, they're, like, at a nutrition company startup. They're like, guys, the Gwyneth Paltrow video came in. This is, like, the biggest thing that's ever happened to our brand. And they all, like, scurry around, like, the laptop at a little desk, and they press play, And they're like,
it's that.
Is someone steaming milk? Because you guys, in the ad, she's
I feel
talking
bad.
and you just hear,
What I feel bad is for the person who had to send like a professional email response back to that.
Yeah.
Like, so hey, so there were some things in the video file we noticed that we'd maybe like a few amendments on.
How
like,
many lawyers
you
do you think were CC'd? I'm going with like 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, I mean it was for sure like not even CC'd. Like there was an internal meeting that had reviewing that,
figuring it out. Yeah,
for sure. But something that I kind of am thinking about is like, do you think that other brands are gonna want to work with Gwyneth Paltrow now? I would think no.
Yeah, I think she definitely, or if...
Like, I think this is going to end up losing her more money than it'll make her.
Yeah, true. And I'm surprised she's promoting a supplement because she has her own company, Goop. And I'd almost think it was like a competitor because she kind of does like woo-woo stuff. But, like when those like hoo-ha eggs aren't giving you enough nutrients, like, you know? But yeah, I think you're right. I think it did probably hurt her. But I also don't think she's like bleeding money. I think she doesn't care.
I think she's doing
I think it was a quick cash grab.
Yeah, I think it was a quick cash grab too.
Now my marketing bop is, did you see that Blackpink built a palace for their fans on Roblox?
No, but that is
Crazy.
Genius.
It hasn't even been up for a week since we're filming this. And it's had 1.1 million visits on Roblox.
Wow.
Could you, like, okay, let's put it in these terms. This is why I'm so obsessed with like learning about Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha doesn't go to the mall. They're not going to things in like they are living through avatars online. If Blackpink had did like a 2-day pop-up at the Del Amo Mall, do you think that they would have had 1.1 million people be able to get through those walls?
It would have been impossible.
Impossible.
There's not even
if there were that many
enough people.
fans.
Yeah.
Not enough parking spots, not enough security, not enough space. However, in a virtual world, you can have an infinite number, and then you're not paying money for security. You're not paying money for parking. You're not paying an event planner. It was so cool. Essentially what they did is people could visit rooms in this palace that were recreations of scenes from their most famous music videos.
That's sick.
You could meet with other fans.
That's
People
so
could
sick.
like people could basically like get their own rooms within the palace and then decorate it and then invite other fans who were there to come to their party and listen to the music. So you were like competing with other people to create the coolest room. So you were essentially then doing work for Blackpink as well, building out their palace. Another one is that like, I was reading the brief on Roblox and it said, be on the lookout for Blackpink's avatars for photo ops. So I'm sure Blackpink isn't even the one who's sitting there on their laptop.
Oh, no.
They probably just have interns who are sitting there walking through Roblox and people are getting photos. I think Roblox is fascinating because you can get like these collector items where I think that what we're going to see, I know Vans World has like a skate park that people can hang out at, which is so awesome. But I think that the best brands who are going to be able to evolve the next 20, 30 years with Gen Alpha and the way that they use the internet is Gen Alpha is no longer, in my opinion, buying as much physical consumption. They're not going to the mall. I think that what they're doing is spending money on their avatars. So if you can like, or even if you're doing a 2-for-1 where say you could go into a store or go on Amazon and buy like a Blackpink CD or album
and you get it in
there's
real
a QR code and then you get like an exclusive outfit that you can only wear in Roblox at the Palace.
I have been saying that.
It's so
I have
cool.
been saying one of the biggest mistakes Roblox has not made yet is getting into fashion.
I know.
Or even like The Sims or anything.
Yeah.
Like if you could buy a hoodie and you scan the QR code of the hoodie like once you bought it and it
game changer
puts it on your avatar, people would go crazy.
Changer.
They would go absolutely crazy. I also think it's so funny too how like the idea of creating a castle in Roblox as a marketing ploy sounds really woo-woo. Like
you can't sell it to a corporate guy.
But if you think about it, of like, I am planning an experiential activation online.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting, right? Because it's like every brand does experiential activations, right? Like they do the conventions, they host pop-ups, they all do that, and they all know the value of it.
Yeah.
But when you say that I'm doing that in Roblox, like it sounds weird, but it is literally the same thing.
And
instead of people showing up to the Lululemon Dupe Swap at Century City Mall, there's people showing up to Blackpink Roblox Land. Yeah. And it's the same thing, but for less amount of money, and there's no geographical tie, like what you're talking about. And I also think that, going back to what I said about this social networking thing, one of the smartest things Roblox ever did was once social media started to stray away from this idea of connection, video games moved into this idea of connection.
Right.
Like, if you think
Club Penguins.
Club Penguins, but think of even the things that have blown up in the past 2 years. Among Us was a game where you like played on headsets with your friends. Fall Guys was another one you played
Apex.
with your friends. Yes, like Roblox, even Fortnite, like all of these things, like gaming moved in to be like, how do we, instead of having one person game by themselves, have 5 people gaming with their friends? Because that way they're incentivized to be doing it every single night, like on repeat all the time. And I think it's so interesting how young people connect with so much of their friends now via video games. Like, I remember when I worked at the daycare too, like all of these kids would come in and like talk about what they did on Roblox yesterday. Like with each other, that they did together. Like, it was weird. Like, the digital and real world like are the same to them. Like they just, you know what I mean? Like maneuver through them when they have to be in a certain location or really don't. And I think if brands start thinking about it like that, they'll start to see the value of it. And also,
and
I
it
think
costs less money. You don't have to pay for security. You don't have to rent out a studio. You don't have
that's the crazy part.
Oh my God, just pay someone who, there's going to be a whole genre of careers of people who know how to build worlds on Roblox.
Or even
they're
just
going to get a lot of money for it.
Exactly. We're designing things for Roblox or like, and I think too that we're going to see more video games that incorporate this world structure where you're able to visit someone else's land, or like Animal Crossing did it really well, where you can visit your friend's island, or Minecraft has done that well too, where they're games designed to share the experience with another person, because once that networking connectivity function is built into the game, they can add in these marketing components, right? Like, it's, if you can go to your friend's island, you can then go to a sponsored event island or whatever.
And this feels reminiscent to me of something that the Biden campaign did this last presidential election, where it was around when Animal Crossing was huge in 2020, and they actually created an island on Animal Crossing that you could go visit. And it was under the Biden campaign, and they built a whole island and activation that you could walk through and like talk to like the Biden like avatar, and it was so cool. And I think that like that right there, it caters to that Gen Z audience that just became voters, but like has grown up, or even some millennial that grew up on Sims that like are using, like you said, these video games to like build communities that they are, that feels sometimes outdated on social media when they're so obsessed with discoverability.
Right.
So I felt like that was such a marketing bot. Like, just think of the number. 1.1 million people have visited. When I did the math and looked at the numbers yesterday, and we'll quickly end by talking about my bad idea only.
Okay.
For it's a Super Bowl idea I had for Beyonce. Okay.
I love the start of it already.
Imagine if Beyonce did a Super Bowl commercial, and it's all about that scene where in her concerts during the song Energy, she goes like, and everybody on mute. And then the arena goes quiet. Have you been seeing that on TikTok?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
And it's this huge viral thing because audiences always like mess up, or one person screams. And people are literally going to the concerts and like holding signs and being like, mute when she says mute. Like, people are trying to like be the ones who are the quiet. So the idea is, it's Beyonce on stage. She's performing her song. She's making everyone wear silver. I don't know if you saw this. Like, everyone's in silver, da-da-da. And then it gets to the part where she's like, everybody on mute. And then the crowd goes quiet. But then it zooms in on like someone's mouth in the audience, and you like see a crunch Doritos bag. Like, you know, when you're trying to open it quiet, and you don't see who the person is, but you just see like the, and it's like, and then the whole audience turns around and in sync. It's like, you know that one plane video where she's like, that man's not real, and everyone's just like turns. So the whole audience, everyone's like, oh. And then like you can see Beyonce's like looking for who it was, and then maybe even there's because I feel like Super Bowl commercials always have a random celebrity cameo too. And there's this girl, Portia, from Real Housewives of Atlanta, who has this one quote where she's like, who said that? Who said that? And but it's her like, who did that? And then it never shows who it is. And then you see the logo for Doritos come on frame, and they're trying to promote these new like spicy pineapple jalapeno chips.
Okay.
So it's like, and the slogan for it is Doritos, be bold. So it'll be like, Doritos, like the only time it's okay to be bold. Kind of like when you're eating a Dorito. And then the last scene is Beyonce getting in the car after the concert, and she's like, oh, like, what a good concert. And then her and Jay are like, I can't believe we almost had the mute challenge, but one person ate a Dorito. And then they look to the back seat, and it's Blue Ivy, like, with the bag, like. And she's like, I was hungry.
That's really good.
Yeah, and then it's like, Doritos, be bold. Like, the look.
You know what I was going to think would be funny, too? What if instead it's not even her eating, but then they look back at her, and it's like, you just see, like, her finger.
Oh, my God.
Like, the little cheese dust. Like, yeah.
Yes.
Something like that I think would be so funny.
Yeah. And Doritos is one of the biggest sponsors of the Super Bowl every year. So I think it's like, if they don't align with Beyonce for this mute challenge, because they're always about like crunchy, like loud. If they don't align with Beyonce and do some commercial for this mute challenge, it's a missed opportunity.
And I always love things that are very clever ways to highlight like a feature of the product.
Yes.
Like, as someone who's literally Doritos my favorite chip, I love how crunchy they are.
Yeah.
Like I need a crunch in my sandwich. Yes. I'm sorry, it's a requirement.
Yes.
So like highlighting that it's crunchy while being like whimsical and tying in a pop culture reference is like chef's kiss.
Yeah, and I feel like it'll go viral because it'll be like an inside joke with people who know about the mute challenge. Like,
yeah. And it incentivizes people to like get Doritos at her performance.
Exactly. Oh my God, it'd be like a Halloween costume where people are like in a Beyonce outfit with Doritos.
Exactly.
Yes. So that was my bad idea for this week, and we'll have more on our TikToks if you guys go look there. But thank you guys so much for watching. This was our longest episode.
This was our longest episode actually. Yeah. And we're so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, guys. We text about it every day.
I know. We're like, we're up 20 today.
It's you guys are like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Like we never expected to anybody to watch
And we
this.
always send each other like screenshots of like the nice comments. So thank you guys so much.
Seriously.
We love it. Yeah.
A small act of kindness has this ripple effect on our lives.
Yeah, it's giving us motivation to keep going.
Seriously. So
thank you guys.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.